What if superheroes have been protecting humanity for thousands of years, even without anyone even knows about it? Not even those who exist throughout history. It was a pretty unique question that people have been wondering about since this film was announced and shown on social media about. Because in 2021, Marvel Studios decided to take one of its biggest leaps that they thought would stuck the landing. And instead of focusing on a small group of familiar heroes we knew, like Captain America, Iron Man, Marvel decided to introduce us to a team that we haven't seen anything else in the universe itself. What's going on, everybody? My name is Nate, and on this 53rd episode of The Road to Avengers Doomsday, we're taking a look at Eternals, a film that has featured an Academy Award-winning director, a massive cast, breaking visuals, and one of the MCU's biggest stories, and a movie that introduced 10 immortal beings who have secretly lived along in humanity for 7,000 years. But despite its massive ambition, Eternals quickly became one of Marvel's most divisive movies. I'm going to tell you exactly why in this video. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show as I take you deep dive into Eternals. Following the massive success of the Infinity Saga, Marvel Studios could have played it safe. Instead, they decided to choose lesser-known comic book teams. Most audiences, including myself, had never heard of the Eternals. That gave Marvel a unique opportunity. They could introduce an entirely new mythology without years of audience expectations. The result was one of most MCU's most ambitious projects, and quite risky ones. To helm this film, Marvel Studios has decided to bring in a director, Chloe Zhao, who had won an Academy Award for her direction in the movie Nomadland. Zhao brought a different style to the MCU. Instead of relying on heavy green screen environments, she used real-world locations and natural lighting. The result is one of the most visually beautiful films in the entire MCU. Now, this probably will take quite a bit of time in my video because I'm at the casting section of it. Because this movie features a gigantic ensemble cast. And when I say big, I mean a big one. So I'm going to break down each of the Eternals for you guys so you guys won't be bored. So first off, leading the Eternals is Cersei, who's played by actress Gemma Chan. Cersei is an Eternal who can create organic matter and stuff. That's a pretty cool power, and the actress is pretty great, Gemma Chan. She gives an emotional center throughout her compassion and belief in humanity. And then we have Icarus, played by Richard Madden, who can fly and he shoots laser beams from his eyes. He's basically that version of Superman. I gotta appreciate the actor, how he tries to get good of a Superman performance, and he does nail the role in slight ways. And then we have Kamali Ninjakami as Kingo, who's probably one of my favorite members of the Eternals because he has that unique comedy style and humor. He also enjoys does some great performances, like something out for Bollywood after he stopped being a part of Eternals. And then we got actress Leah McHugh as Sprite, who's basically the small child of the Eternals, and I like her illusions, and I like the visuals they do. She does pretty great acting. Gotta give props to her. And then another actress I enjoy is Lauren Ridloff as Makari. So she is basically the MCU's first ever deaf woman, and it's really amazing how they managed to put her in the movie, and her speeds in the movie are really fantastic. Gotta give props to the visual effects department. And then we got Brian Tyree Henry as Phastos, the brilliant inventor. The actor does pretty great performances, and I can see how much the emotion and heart he puts for the movie. And it's just pretty fantastic. And then we got Barry Cohen as Jarug. He is an Eternal that he can brainwash people with mind control. Even though he's only got small minutes of screen time, he does do great acting from his low tone. And then there's Don Lee as Gilgamesh. he does really great strength with his power, and I gotta appreciate the actor does him. He's pretty great. And then there's the wise leader Ajax, played by Samala Hayek. Despite her limited screen time, she does pretty great, unique acting. I gotta appreciate how she does it from what we can. And lastly, we got Thea, played by Angelina Jolie, who does great stunt work and acting, especially with the weapon scenes. And she brings the strength and vulnerability to her character. And it's really amazing how these actors do great performances on screen together. It's just really fantastic how Marvel can bring great actors to do Marvel stuff. Now, one of the biggest introductions to Eternals is, of course, the Marvel lore of the Celestials. These enormous cosmic beings create the Eternals and gave them one mission: protect humanity from the Deviants. But as the story later unfolds, the heroes learn that their true purpose is far more complicated. This revelation changes everything they believed. It also expanded the cosmic side of the MCU in fascinating ways. The visual effects of Eternals is also very groundbreaking and fantastic. Every frame is really nostalgic, and I just love how Marvel was able to do something this massive of a movie. You gotta appreciate how Marvel tried to do something pretty big and ambitious. And the filmmaking is pretty fantastic. And now let's go for the criticisms. Personally, I think Eternals is a pretty good Marvel movie, but I don't think it's a great one. And the fact that you're introducing 10 heroes, explain thousands of years of history, develop multiple relationships, and tell a world-ending story within one movie is an enormous challenge, especially at the runtime. And like I said, some of these characters have very little development. For some viewers, that's really frustrating. The movie is pretty slow, and for others, it makes the film a bit uneven. But despite that, the action sequence of the movie is actually pretty great. I actually love the fight scenes we get to see, the Eternals versus the Deviants. It's actually pretty interesting, and especially the final fight. That is pretty awesome as well. I do enjoy it how Marvel is trying to go for here. And now we're at the post-credits scene, and I forgot to mention this, but there's this other character, that being Dane Whitman, who is played by Game of Thrones actor Kit Harington, and he is actually he's dating Cersei, and then later he learns about this Black Knight thing that he is a part of, and it actually confirms he is actually the character Black Knight, and it's about to reveal the Ebony Blade. Then some unknown voice tells him if he's ready to do it. And as much as Marvel fans would like to see where this goes, I feel like it just went nowhere after this, because we barely see or any of the Eternals ever again after this movie. It's just Marvel's looks like a one-done snap like that. But now I'm going to tell you my final thoughts on Eternals. Overall, I enjoyed the movie as many other people did. I understand it's very diverse. It's slower, and it's not a very traditional of a Marvel movie. But I did appreciate Marvel tried doing something really new here. Not experiment works perfectly, but I respect the filmmakers who take creative risks. For me, the beautiful visuals, the cast, and the ambitious storytelling overweighed the movie's flaws. Now, why does this matter to the road to Avengers Doomsday? Even though Eternals tells a standalone story, it greatly expands the mythology of the MCU. It introduces the Celestials, the history of the Eternals, the origins of the Deviants, and bigger cosmic questions about the universe itself. And as Marvel builds towards the larger crossover for Avengers Doomsday that's coming in December, those cosmic ideas could come into increasingly important. And maybe, just maybe, we may see the return of the Eternals one day in a future Marvel project. But in conclusion, Eternals might not be everyone's favorite Marvel movie, but it tried to do something new, and I do appreciate the cast and the director doing some really good risks for this movie. But overall, I think the movie tries to juggle two main characters at once, but I still admire its ambition and willingness to be different. And I know you guys may find that hard to believe, but go see it for yourself on Disney Plus and tell me your thoughts. But anywho's, if you enjoyed this episode of Nate Reviews, make sure you give a like, comment, subscribe, and let me know down in the comments below. Do you think Eternals is underrated, or do you think it deserves the mixed reception it deserves? But anywho's, thanks for watching. Make sure you guys have a good day. And remember, my videos are just my thoughts on the movies and TV shows I watch on a daily basis. But I'll see you guys then. Have a wonderful day. Peace out.